I've generated $500 million in revenue for this company over 3 years. Yet, the department manager position that was explicitly promised to me was on the day of the annual corporate gala, publicly handed over to some brand new intern. Amidst a thunderous explosion of applause, that intern Tangsan waved his hand and took the stage, casting a glance my way that was dripping with pure disdain. I had already taken a step forward to claim my prize, only to freeze mid-air, my face flushing a deep, humiliated crimson. I've slaved away for this company for 3 grueling years. Practically every single major deal and minor contract was carried across the finish line by my blood, sweat, and tears. It's absolutely pathetic. A rookie intern who hasn't even been here for 2 months actually managed to snatch all my credit so effortlessly. At that moment, my phone began vibrating incessantly with a barrage of messages. It was from the CEO, my girlfriend. Stop being dramatic. I made this call specifically to avoid any suspicion. The company strictly forbids office romances. If I promoted you, our relationship would be exposed instantly. I nearly laughed out loud at that avoiding suspicion excuse. For 3 years, I've survived on a pathetic base salary of $2,000, trapped at the bottom of the food chain as a lowly employee. And that ironclad promise we had, now because of some greenhorn intern, it's been tossed aside like trash. I'm done. A CEO girlfriend like this isn't worth a damn to me. And honestly, this company deserves to go bankrupt. The colleagues below the stage watch me with predatory amusement, their dense, suffocating mockery stabbing into my ears like 1,000 jagged needles. Look at this guy making a total fool of himself. He acted so cocky before, like the manager spot was already his. I've been sick of his ego for a long time. The CEO clearly sees through the BS. People like him should never be promoted. I white-knuckled my fist, glaring at the CEO, Liu Ruyan. I sold my soul to this company for 3 years, helping it climb to the height where it stands today. In terms of seniority or raw capability, how am I not leagues above this brat? On what grounds am I being passed over? Liu Ruyan, who was just beaming while congratulating the intern, turned to me with a face of icy indifference. What capability are you talking about? Tangsan secured a $10 million deal in just 6 months. While you haven't brought in a single contract lately, why would I promote a useless freeloader? My dear colleagues, an explosion of mockery and booming laughter erupted instantly. The CEO is absolutely spot on. These washed-up veterans who only live in the past should have been axed ages ago. Our CEO is truly a saint. That she's even willing to keep a loser like him on the payroll. A surge of pure rage bolted straight to my brain. My vision blurred with a dizzying vertigo. I felt like I was about to go nuclear. Another notification from Liu Ruyan popped up. Tangsan has a very unique background. Giving him the manager role is just to appease him. Just try to be understanding for once. A hollow, bitter desolation washed over my heart. I have to be understanding, then who the hell understands me? I shut my phone off and looked her dead in the eye. That $10 million deal, you're the one who ordered me to hand it to Tangsan. And as compensation, you promised me the manager promotion. Did our great CEO Liu develop amnesia? Or were you just playing me for a fool from the very start? The crowd of colleagues erupted into a chaotic frenzy. What a load of BS! A useless trash like Feng Yuan landing a $10 million contract as if Liu Ruyan slammed her hand against the table. Shut your mouth! How dare you slander me in public? She stomped down from the stage and hissed into my ear, her words coming out sharp and frantic. Laced with a trace of panic she couldn't quite hide. Listen to me, stop making a scene. Regardless of anything else, it's a cold fact that you have 0 results on paper. If I promote you now, it'll look like blatant favoritism. It'll only stir up suspicion. Whatever it is, we'll talk at home. I slowly, deliberately pushed Liu Ruyan away, scanning the room full of judgmental mocking faces. For 5 years, Liu Ruyan forced me to surrender every single project and gift them to other colleagues on a silver platter. She got to play the benevolent saint and take the credit, all to win people's loyalty and build her inner circle. I didn't even get a thank you for my sacrifices. Instead, I became the company's laughingstock, the resident failure. And because of her obsession with avoiding suspicion, I wasn't even allowed to utter a single word in my own defense. I endured it all because I loved her blindly. But now I'm done playing nice. A flash of bewilderment flickered in Liu Ruyan's eyes. Fang Yuan, you... Tangsan suddenly scurried over, fake sobbing. President Liu, please don't argue because of me. I'll step down. I don't want the manager position anymore. Since Brother Fang Yuan wants it so badly, then I'll just hand it over to him. All I ever wanted was to stay by your side and learn. None of the other stuff matters to me. I let out a sharp laugh. Fine by me. Resign from that manager spot right now and hand over the $50,000 project bonus too. Tangsan's face instantly stiffened, his fingers instinctively tightening around his appointment letter. Liu Ruyan immediately pulled Tangsan into a protective embrace, glaring at me with eyes brimming with disappointment. Fang Yuan, you've gone way too far. How can you bully a young man who just started his career? The surrounding colleagues erupted in fury. Damn it. He actually has the audacity to bully an intern right in front of the CEO? Our company has no room for such an arrogant scumbag. CEO, fire him already. I let out a cold, hollow sneer. I'm the one bullying him, this useless brat. Shamelessly hijacked my project bonus. Along with my manager position, now he's acting all virtuous, claiming he doesn't care about the rewards. Have you all lost your damn minds? You're actually showing sympathy for a common thief. Then again, it makes sense. Your own projects were stolen from my hands as well? Slap a crisp sound echoed through the hall. Liu Ruyan stared at her own hand, momentarily stunned by her own reflex. Before snapping at me, you've crossed the line. Apologize to Tang-san this instant, or I will fire you on the spot. She then leaned in close to my ear, whispering fiercely, You've already provoked a mob here? Just apologize quickly, or I won't be able to protect you anymore. You know the rules. I have to avoid any suspicion. I touched the burning swelling on my cheek, feeling as though a jagged blade had carved out a massive chunk of my heart. The pain was excruciating. Don't bother wasting your breath. I quit. Ignoring the shock and confusion in Liu Ruyan's eyes, I turned on my heel and walked away with icy resolve. Behind me, the venomous jeers of my colleagues trailed off. Who does he think he is? A total freeloader trying to threaten the CEO with a resignation. The CEO is the one who gifted us those projects. Fang Yuan isn't worth a damn thing. All the insults and mocking laughter gradually faded into the biting bitter wind at my back. I grabbed my phone and dialed my mother's number. I accept the arrangement, Mom. My mother let out a boisterous, knowing laugh. 2 years ago, when I acquired your company, I already knew this day would come. Enough now. A man losing a gamble is nothing. Just take it as an expensive life lesson. I let out a hollow, bitter smile. 2 years ago, at my desperate request, when my mother bought out Liu Ruyan's firm, she overheard Liu Ruyan's grand declaration, claiming she wanted to eradicate internal corruption and keep the staff focused on their professional duties. She enacted a strict ban on office romances, vowing that she would be the first to lead by example. Back then, my mother sent me a warning message. Liu Ruyan is far too opportunistic. You two will never go the distance. I was defiant and even bet my mother, just wait. One day Liu Ruyan will publicly acknowledge me, but now I refuse to wait a second longer. By the way, Mom stopped giving Liu Ruyan the VIP treatment. If her company's performance tanks, let it go bankrupt. The only reason Liu Ruyan could maintain a top rank among Dingsheng Group's many subsidiaries was because my mother funneled resources her way. My mother laughed with sharp satisfaction. Good. My wolf cub has finally decided to show his fangs. Back at the apartment, I collapsed onto the sofa, taking a long, heavy breath. I checked my phone. The company group chat was absolutely exploding. There was a video of Tang-san and Liu Ruyan locking arms to share a cross-cup drink at the banquet. The crowd was hooting and hollering in the background. A match made in heaven. May they stay together forever. I stared at the screen, my eyes widening in disbelief. To avoid suspicion, during any company dinner, I wasn't even allowed to sit at the same table as her. Yet now she was being this intimate with someone else in public. A taste like bitter gall filled my mouth. It turns out her avoiding suspicion was only meant for me. My last shred of affection finally snapped. I finished packing my bags and drafted a breakup text before hitting send. Liu Ruyan walked through the door, propping up a drunken Tang-san. Fang Yuan, hurry up and make a hangover soup. His voice was thick with agonizing concern. Tang-san got wasted shielding me from drinks, drinking cross-cupped, and dragging a drunken man back to our home. Have you completely forgotten your own ban on office romances? Back when I used to get blackout drunk for the sake of our clients, I'd beg Liu Ruyan to come and pick me up. She'd reject me instantly, using avoiding suspicion as her shield. I was forced to rot in some cheap hotel alone for the night. Even during our daily commutes, she demanded our schedules never overlap, petrified that someone might catch a whiff of our relationship. Yet now she's tossed every single one of her rules out the window. Liu Ruyan let out a frigid, sharp bark. Tang-san and I are perfectly innocent, so there's nothing to hide. Your own mind is twisted and filthy, so naturally everything you see looks disgusting. When her eyes finally landed on the suitcase in my hand, she erupted in a volcanic rage. Fine. You actually have the nerve to throw a tantrum. I've been way too patient with you. If you're so brave, then get the hell out. Don't you dare come back. As I tried to brush past them, Tang-san suddenly lunged forward and gripped my shoulder. Brother Fang Yuan, please don't be angry. I'll leave right this second. Then he leaned into my ear and hissed, You absolute moron. I knew about your history with Ruyan from the very start. But so what? She'll choose me every single time. A wave of nauseating alcohol breath hit my face. I couldn't help but shove Tang-san away. I barely used any force. Yet Tang-san dramatically collapsed backward and slammed into the floor. President Liu. It hurt so much. Liu Ruyan frantically helped him up, rushing him toward the hospital. Before throwing a final threat, Fang Yuan, you'd better watch your back. I let out a hollow laugh. I think you've got that backwards. With the breakup text officially sent, I dragged my suitcase and vanished into the night. The next day, I showed up at the office to finalize my resignation. My colleagues sneered with reckless abandon. Didn't you act all tough when you walked out yesterday? What, crawling back already? If he leaves this company, where else could a pathetic loser like him even go? I let out a sharp, chilling scoff. The one who's pathetic isn't me. It's this group of pathetic parasites. They've been slacking off and riding my coattails for far too long. They're completely unfit for the cutthroat reality of the market. I can't be bothered to waste my breath on them. Soon enough, their masks will be ripped away, exposing their incompetence. I shoved open the door to Liu Ruyan's office, only to find her and Tang-san intimately feeding each other. I froze, but surprisingly, I felt nothing but a dull indifference. To avoid suspicion, whenever we were at the office, I wasn't allowed to utter a single word to Liu Ruyan, let alone enjoy a cozy meal in her private sanctuary. Seeing them now, they looked like the actual couple. Apologies, it seems my timing is impeccable. I didn't mean to interrupt your romantic little lunch. Liu Ruyan's brow furrowed in irritation. Enough. If you hadn't injured Tang-san last night, I wouldn't have to take care of him like this. Stop with the bitter sarcasm. Furthermore, you're becoming increasingly reckless, actually daring to threaten me with a breakup. Apologize to both of us right now. I simply shook my head. I blame myself for being so subservient all these years. Now, even when I dump her, she thinks it's just a bluff. I'm not playing games. The breakup is final, and my resignation is real. With that, I slid my formal resignation letter across the desk. Liu Ruyan's eyes snapped wide in disbelief, her voice rising an octave. Just because I didn't promote you, you're actually quitting over this. I told you I have to avoid suspicion. Why can't you wrap your head around that? I was beyond disappointed. I pushed the resignation letter even closer to her. Even now, at the very end, Liu Ruyan is still living in her own delusional world. Her avoiding suspicion was nothing but a parasitic excuse to bleed me dry for her own benefit. Tang-san put on his best victim face. Brother Fang Yuan, are you still mad at me, Ruyan? Maybe you should just give the manager spot to him. Liu Ruyan patted his hand reassuringly. Don't worry. What belongs to you stays with you. No one is going to snatch it away. She turned her gaze back to me, her eyes now overflowing with pure loathing. You're trying to use your resignation to force a marriage proposal again, aren't you? Fang Yuan, you've really outdone yourself this time. And now you're doubling down with this pathetic breakup threat. I stared at Liu Ruyan with a hollow gaze, feeling as though a colossal boulder were crushing my chest. The once innocent, driven girl I knew, when exactly did she become such a heartless stranger? 5 years ago, I fled my home to escape an arranged marriage, joining Liu Ruyan's struggling startup. Over time, I was genuinely moved by her relentless grit, and through our long hours together, I fell for her. Once we made it official, I secured countless major deals. But Liu Ruyan pulled me aside, looking conflicted, and pleaded. Fang Yuan, let's keep our relationship under wraps for now. Can we just try to avoid suspicion, please? I established that ban on office romances, specifically to keep the team laser focused on their work. If I'm the first one to break my own rules, I'll never be able to maintain control again. I readily agreed to her terms. No problem. As long as we're happy together, that's all that matters. We don't need the world to know. Also, could you let me take the credit for your projects? The company is full of veterans who followed my father, and I need these big wins to keep them in line and earn their respect. I was hesitant to agree at first. After all, what kind of employee gifts their success to the boss? But seeing Liu Ruyan looking so vulnerable and desperate, my heart softened and I caved to her request. Liu Ruyan did indeed win over the hearts of the staff, solidifying her throne as the CEO. 2 years ago, as the company continued to scale up, the shareholders grew greedy. They pressured Liu Ruyan to sell the company for a quick payout. At the same time, her father fell critically ill, requiring an astronomical sum for his medical treatment. Liu Ruyan reached her breaking point and finally prepared to surrender. After a night of heavy drinking, she clung to me sobbing and laughing. Maybe it's for the best. We won't have to hide our love or avoid suspicion anymore. Once we save my father, let's finally get married. Her tear-stained face shattered my heart. I went straight to my mother that very night, persuading her to acquire Liu Ruyan's company. It became a subsidiary of the Dingsheng Group, and I ensured Liu Ruyan remained as the CEO. I intended to quit then and there to marry her, but she begged me once more, Fang Yuan, please keep helping me. Those clients only trust you. If you resign now, our company will end up at the bottom of the Dingsheng Group. I want to give it one more serious push. The unprecedented greed and ambition in Liu Ruyan's eyes triggered a faint, unsettling anxiety deep within my soul. And just as I feared, as she gradually secured her footing within the Dingsheng Group, Liu Ruyan became increasingly overbearing and grew colder toward me by the day. Inevitable, we drifted further and further apart. I took a deep, steadying breath, stifling the bitter ache rising in my heart. If you refuse to accept my resignation and this breakup, I'll go public with our entire relationship. You're obsessed with avoiding suspicion every single day, right? Let's see how you maintain your authority then. Liu Ruyan's expression froze instantly. She snatched the resignation letter away, scribbled her signature, and hurled it at me with a cold sneer. If you want to leave, then get out. Don't delude yourself into thinking I still need you. Let me tell you something. Tang-san is the biological son of the head office's CEO, President Tang. This company is about to skyrocket to the top. Don't you dare come crawling back with regrets. No wonder she was so heartless toward me. It turns out she thinks she's hooked, the son of the Dingsheng Group's ultimate boss. But that's strange. How come I wasn't aware that my own mother had a secret illegitimate son? The moment I returned home, my mother convened the board appointing me as the executive vice president on the spot. Finally, this old man can retire and enjoy life. The senior board members all started teasing me. Fang Yuan finally decided to leave his lover's nest and come back. Young people really love their drama, acting like total strangers to avoid suspicion when they're a couple. After Liu Ruyan's company merged into the Dingsheng group, our little secret had already spread among the high-level execs. Otherwise, why would these industry titans ever show Liu Ruyan such kindness and patience? I scratched my head in sheer embarrassment. Uncles, please. I no longer have any connection to Liu Ruyan. From now on, there's no need to do me any favors. By giving her special treatment, the room instantly erupted into a chaotic loud debate. Fang Yuan, my granddaughter, just graduated. Her work ethic is top tier. Meet her tonight and don't listen to that old man's nonsense. He's too scared to even mention what his granddaughter looks like. I have a distant niece who is an absolute beauty. I'll have her fly over immediately. I was caught between a laugh and a sigh, but immediately a warm sensation filled my chest. The elders were only joking like this because they feared I was hurting. In reality, I had completely moved on. Without my mother's special intervention, it took a mere 3 months for Liu Ruyan's firm to bleed out 90% of its projects. They were hemorrhaging tens of millions every single month, ranking dead last in the entire Dingsheng group. According to the group's strict assessment protocols, any subsidiary facing 3 consecutive months of losses and a bottom-tier ranking would face a formal inquiry. In severe cases, they would be liquidated immediately. Accompanied by the head of the group audit department, I arrived at Liu Ruyan's corporate office. In just 90 days, the place had devolved into pure chaos. Teacups and files were flying through the air, and the atmosphere reeked of absolute desperation. Liu Ruyan was cornering Tangsan, interrogating him. Tangsan, call your mother right now and find a solution. The audit department will be here any second. If we don't fix this immediately, this entire company is going to vanish. Tangsan had completely lost his usual smug composure. Sweat was pouring down his face like a waterfall. When she spotted me, Liu Ruyan's rage flared even brighter. Fang Yuan, where the hell have you been hiding? Do you have any idea how many clients we've lost? They all insist they'll only sign contracts with you. Get out there and bring those clients back right now. I coldly swiped away Liu Ruyan's reaching hand. CEO Liu, please maintain some professional distance. Weren't you always obsessed with avoiding suspicion regarding me? Why don't you care about it anymore? Look at the situation we're in. Stop throwing a tantrum. Suddenly noticing the audit department head, Liu Ruyan instantly forced a desperate smile onto her face. Director Chen, you know Tangsan is President Tang's own son. Surely for his sake, you can grant us one more chance. She spoke while shoving a trembling Tangsan toward Director Chen. Director Chen shot a disdainful glance at the shivering Tangsan and let out a cold snort. No connection in the world is greater than company policy. Moreover, President Tang has only one biological son, and that is Executive Vice President Feng Yuan standing right here. I have certainly never heard of President Tang having some illegitimate child. Liu Ruyan's eyes widened in sheer paralyzed shock. Feng Yuan is President Tang's son? That's impossible. He never mentioned a word of that to me. Besides, Feng Yuan explicitly told me that his mother was just a common laborer. I let out a chilling hollow scoff. Lucky for me, I never revealed my mother's true identity to Liu Ruyan. When I first joined Liu Ruyan's startup, I was in the middle of a massive fallout with my mother. In a fit of stubborn pride, I claimed she was just a factory worker. Later, when her firm merged into the Dingsheng group, my mother strictly forbade me from telling Liu Ruyan who she actually was. Unless she marries you of her own free will and bears your child, you are never to reveal my status to her. Reflecting on it now, my mother was playing the long game. She had already seen through Liu Ruyan's ruthless, opportunistic nature. She knew that as long as my true wealth remained hidden, Liu Ruyan's feelings for me would eventually rot. The employees began to swarm around us in a frenzy. What, that useless Feng Yuan is actually the son of President Tang, and he's the newly appointed executive vice president of the Dingsheng Group headquarters. There's no way, is there? But Director Chen from the audit department said it himself. There's zero chance he's lying about that. A wave of suspicion instantly crashed over Tangsan's identity. Liu Ruyan began to spiral into a visible panic. She had gambled far too much capital on Tangsan. If he turned out to be a total fraud, she would never be able to survive the fallout. It's perfectly normal for someone at Director Chen's level to be kept in the dark about Tangsan's true lineage. Tangsan told me himself. President Tang kept him hidden overseas since childhood. Hardly anyone knows he even exists. Besides, Tangsan has ironclad proof. She spun around, frantically urging Tangsan to show his evidence. The crowd joined in, loudly demanding to see the truth. Tangsan hesitated for an eternity, backed into a corner with nowhere left to run. With trembling hands, he slowly unlocked his phone screen. Displayed there was a single, grainy photo of Tangsan and my mother outside a hotel. Tangsan was beaming like a lottery winner, while my mother looked blatantly annoyed and dismissive. The employees started to waver once more. President Tang is notorious for refusing photos with anyone. Maybe Tangsan really does have a connection with her. Even if he isn't her biological son, He could be a distant nephew or something, right? I let out a chilling hollow scoff. Back when I was still at the headquarters, seeing how Liu Ruyan was so utterly convinced that Tangsan was my mother's son, even I started to feel a flicker of doubt. Could my mother really have a secret love child hidden away? After hesitating for what felt like an eternity, I finally gathered the nerve to ask her directly, "Mom, do you have an illegitimate son out there somewhere?" Before the words even fully left my mouth, my mother delivered a brutal physical reprimand. "What the hell did you just say to me? I've only ever loved your father in my entire life. I've never messed around or been unfaithful. I slaved away to raise you on my own. And this is the thanks I get." I begged for mercy repeatedly, clutching my bruised thigh where she'd kicked me. Later, I had a private investigator dig into Tangsan, only to discover that he was nothing but a low-life thug from a completely ordinary family. He used to work for a business under the Dingsheng Group as a lowly waiter at one of our hotels. One day my mother stayed there and Tangsan recognized her. He shamelessly pestered her with a pathetic groveling plea, until she finally relented to a single photo just to shut him up. The so-called ironclad evidence Liu Ruyan spoke of, claiming Tangsan was my mother's precious son, that's the pathetic reality of how it happened. I didn't even bother debunking the photo's authenticity yet. After all, I had much more effective methods to tear the mask off this whole charade. Since Tangsan joined this firm, aside from the $10 million deal he stole from me, what other projects has he actually closed? If he's truly the elite son of President Tang, surely he could handle a few simple contracts. Just to save face, couldn't he? Not to mention, since he took over a leadership role, in a mere 3-month span, this company has bled out 90% of its clientele. For the son of the president, his supposed influence seems incredibly worthless. The moment I mentioned the disastrous loss of projects, the staff immediately erupted in a wave of suppressed fury. Exactly. If Tangsan were truly President Tang's biological son, then why the hell have we lost so many massive projects? In just these last 3 months, my salary has been slashed down to a pathetic 2,000 kis. Tangsan, are you actually President Tang's son or just a fraud? Think about it, back when Fang Yuan was still with the company, we never had a shortage of high-tier projects. The moment Fang Yuan walked out that door, every single client demanded him by name, insisting they would only sign contracts with him. They even explicitly stated they only gave us the time of day, because of Fang Yuan's personal reputation. What is the real story here? Could it be that Fang Yuan is the actual son of President Tang? Seeing the ugly truth about to be stripped bare, Liu Ruyan spiraled into a state of absolute panic. She frantically shook Tangsan's arm. "Tangsan, for God's sake, say something." For all these years, Liu Ruyan relied on gifting my hard-earned projects to the staff, just to buy their loyalty and play the hero. As the reigning CEO, she'd become addicted to the high of everyone's flattery. If this charade were to be exposed now, she wouldn't just lose face, her entire world would crumble. Tangsan was drenched in a cold, desperate sweat. I'm just avoiding suspicion. That's it, I'm avoiding suspicion. After all, I am President Tang's flesh and blood, the future heir to the entire Dingsheng Group. If I started using my privilege the second I joined, people would constantly talk behind my back. Just give me a little more time, everyone. I'll make sure my mom goes easy on this firm. A wave of indescribable absurdity washed over my entire being. I couldn't help but clap for Tangsan's sheer audacity. The guy really has no limits when it comes to bullshitting. The actual heir is standing right in front of you, yet you still have the nerve to shamelessly claim that President Tang is your father. Has hanging around Liu Ruyan for too long rotted your brain? Let me educate you. We are a private enterprise, period. Dingsheng Group was built from the ground up by President Tang. The entire empire belongs to her. When a mother paves the way for her own son, what kind of suspicion is she supposed to avoid? Is she supposed to wait for someone to steal the company first and let her only son rot as a useless freeloader? Only a brainless fool like Liu Ruyan would constantly use avoiding suspicion as a mantra. Think about it as a CEO of a private firm. As long as you're leading the team to massive profits, what kind of suspicion is there to even avoid? The employees erupted in a chorus of demands. Exactly. Tangsan, look at the time. Forget about your stupid suspicion. Get President Tang on the phone this instant. Otherwise, when this company goes under, even if you were just here for some field experience, don't you think your reputation will be trashed? You're supposed to inherit the Dingsheng Group. Leaving a bankrupt firm on your resume would be a massive permanent stain on your legacy. Tangsan was instantly tongue-tied and started stammering, unable to conjure up a single logical explanation. He was nothing more than a hotel waiter by trade. He'd only learned that avoiding suspicion excuse from Liu Ruyan. Asking him to improvise a new lie on the spot was clearly asking for the impossible. A cold realization and deep disappointment flickered in Liu Ruyan's eyes. Tangsan's pathetic reaction was already enough to confirm the truth. Director Chen remained completely stone-faced. By the way, my presence here today isn't just to investigate 3 months of consecutive losses and your dead last ranking within the group. I am also here to probe Tangsan's fraudulent hiring process. According to our internal records, when Tangsan joined this company, There was zero attempt to register his file with the headquarters. Our investigation shows his entire academic background is a total fabrication. Liu Ruyan's eyes widened in absolute paralyzing disbelief. Tang-san, you absolute animal. When I said I needed to report your hiring to HQ, you insisted on avoiding suspicion. You claimed you didn't want anyone to know you'd joined the firm, and told me to just hand your file over to you, saying you'd tell President Tang yourself. You were actually playing me for a fool this whole time. Director Chen cut Liu Ruyan off mid-sentence. President Liu, don't try to dodge your responsibility now. Back then, to strictly enforce your ban on office romances, you ruthlessly kept your distance from Vice President Feng, leaving him to be marginalized and crushed by the staff. So why is it that when it came to Tang-san, you ignored every rule and forgot all about your precious suspicion? Could it be that your so-called suspicion was a weapon you only used to target Vice President Feng? Seeing that Liu Ruyan was desperately trying to pin all the blame on him, Tang-san snapped and dropped the act entirely. You're the one who threw yourself at me like a thirsty dog. How are you going to blame me for your own choices now? During that first interview, I merely let you catch a glimpse of the photo of me and President Tang on my phone. You're the one who fantasized that I was her biological son. The interview was just small talk because you made it so I never once explicitly claimed that I was President Tang's long-lost heir. If you wanted to believe that delusion, obviously I was going to ride that wave. As he spoke, he turned a greasy, flattering gaze toward Director Chen. Director Chen, every single decision and mistake was made by Liu Ruyan and her alone. I'm just a small fish, so please don't take it out on me. I shot Tang-san a look of pure, unadulterated disgust. It's true that Tang-san's behavior was utterly repulsive, but he hadn't technically crossed any legal lines. The most we could do was kick him out like trash. But with the company bleeding this much for 3 months, bankruptcy was now an absolute unavoidable certainty. She's been the worshipped CEO for so long. The sudden violent fall from grace will surely be a reality she can't survive. Moreover, once the employees process these truths, they will turn the white-hot rage of their unemployment directly onto her. Liu Ruyan lunged at my feet, clutching my pant leg and begging with a pathetic sob. Fang Yuan, it was all my fault, but I was manipulated by Tang-san's lies. That's the only reason I didn't promote you. I swear at the time I truly wanted to make you the department manager, but Tang-san kept hinting to me that if he got the position, he'd secure massive resources for our firm. I was forced into this. I impatiently kicked Liu Ruyan's hands away, my eyes overflowing with a deep, weary disappointment. Enough, even at this stage. How are you still this delusional? I didn't break up with you over some paltry department manager promotion. You said we had to hide our love and avoid suspicion, so I agreed. You told me to hand over all my projects to you, and then you gifted them to the staff just to buy their loyalty. I agreed to that too. All I ever truly cared about was you. But you've utterly shattered my faith in us. Before the company was acquired by the Dingsheng Group, even though Liu Ruyan played the stranger card at work, the moment we stepped through our front door, she was the most affectionate, loving partner. We'd share dinner and go for peaceful walks together. When I handed my hard-earned projects over to her, she would shower me with genuine gratitude. 2 years ago, when the company was on the brink of death, she was forced to sell only to find a miraculous lifeline by becoming a subsidiary of the prestigious Dingsheng Group. Not to mention, she was allowed to stay on as the CEO. From that exact moment onward, success went straight to her head. It wasn't just the workplace suspicion anymore. Even after returning home, Liu Ruyan became chillingly cold and distant. Whenever I sought any form of intimacy, she would snap at me with pure irritation. I'm handling a mountain of corporate crisis every day. I'm exhausted beyond belief. While you sit around doing absolutely nothing, is all you think about these trivial things. When I continued to sacrifice my projects for her, she began to view it as her birthright, never uttering a single word of thanks again. As my mother continued to funnel massive resources her way, her attitude toward me turned into pure unmasked disdain. The truth is, the projects her company handled were never actually that impressive. More often than not, I was the one behind the scenes cleaning up their pathetic messes. If this group of people at her company were forced to compete fairly, they wouldn't stand a ghost of a chance against the real world. It's not that she was blind to my secret sacrifices. She simply made the conscious choice to ignore them, refusing to care about my efforts ever again. After all, in her twisted eyes, I was just a lowly worker from a peasant background. To be her secret underground lover was supposedly the greatest stroke of luck in my life. I wasn't worthy of expecting any better treatment. Only someone like Tang-san, the president's son, was considered a worthy match for her status. Liu Ruyan shook her head with frantic desperation. No! Fang Yuan, that's not how it was at all. I truly deeply love you. She clearly realized she couldn't even spin another lie. The next second, Liu Ruyan collapsed to her knees, her fingers desperately clutching my pant leg. The haughtiness of the past had completely vanished from her face, replaced by tear-streaked terror and pure panic. Fang Yuan, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. I'll kick Tang-san out of my life right now. I'll give the entire company back to you. Can we just go back to the way things were, please? I looked down at her from my height, finding the entire scene grotesquely ironic. Back when I slaved away until the dead of night, she used avoiding suspicion as a cold excuse, refusing to even bring me a single cup of warm water. Now that she's hit rock bottom, she's finally learned how to beg. I let out a sharp, frigid scoff. When you forced me to surrender my hard work to others, using my achievements to buy your own fan club, did you never imagine this day would come? When you were locking arms with Tungsan to share a drink, kicking me aside like a piece of worthless trash. Did you ever think about turning back then? Liu Ruyan's tears flowed uncontrollably. Yet she didn't even dare to struggle. She could only choke out the words, "I'm sorry." I was blinded by my own greed. It was all Tungsan's lies. That's enough. I swiped her hands away and pulled out a tissue to wipe my fingers in disgust. You weren't tricked by anyone. You were simply consumed by your own avarice. You craved the status of a CEO's son that Tungsan promised, and those hollow, non-existent resources he bragged about. From start to finish, the only person you ever loved was yourself. Director Chen stepped forward, brandishing a formal document. CEO Liu per the Dingsheng Group's ironclad regulations. Since this subsidiary has failed for 3 months and ranks last, bankruptcy liquidation proceedings begin effective immediately. Furthermore, regarding your illegal hiring and falsified performance reports, the legal department will be in contact for a full investigation. Liu Ruyan slumped to the floor, her face as pale as a corpse. Sensing the impending doom, Tungsan nearby turned on his heel, attempting to sneak away. 2 security guards instantly lunged forward and pinned his arms. Tungsan's face turned ghostly white with fear. Screeching like a slaughtered pig, "Let me go! I'm innocent. I was framed." It was Liu Ruyan who seduced me first. I was framed. I let out a chilling, hollow scoff. I pulled out my phone and tapped on an audio file. That night at the hotel, bragging to your gang of low-life friends about how you used a single photo to bait Liu Ruyan, how you planned to hijack my hard-earned projects, and how you played her like a total fool. Do you really want to hear those words again? Tangsan's face instantly drained of all color, turning as white as paper. His mouth hung open, trembling, but not a single word could escape his lips. Forging academic credentials and corporate fraud, that's enough to keep you behind bars for a long time. I'm finished with him. I gave the signal, and security dragged Tungsan toward the exit. His desperate wailing echoed through the office, before finally vanishing at the very end of the corridor. The surrounding employees stood there paralyzed by the spectacle. Every single one of them was dumbfounded. Those who had been the loudest in mocking me now buried their heads as low as they could go, desperately wishing the floor would swallow them whole. I swept my gaze across the room, my voice as cold as a frozen grave. When you all followed Liu Ruyan and Tangsan's lead, viciously branding me as a useless parasite, did you never stop to think that this day would come? A veteran employee, the one who had been the most arrogant, approached me with trembling knees. His face was plastered with a pathetic fawning smile. Vice President Fang, we were just blinded by their deception. A great man like you must have a big heart. Surely you won't hold this little grudge against us. I let out a mocking laugh. I don't have the time for that. But let me be brutally honest with you all. Once this company officially files for bankruptcy, your resumes will be permanently stained with a black mark. A record of participating in a failed, mismanaged enterprise. Good luck finding a decent job in this industry ever again. The moment those words hit, the staff erupted into a state of absolute chaos. Some broke down into uncontrollable sobbing, while others began screaming and pointing at Liu Ruyan. It's all your fault if you weren't so blind to trust Tungsan. We would never have ended up in this hellhole. Liu Ruyan curled into a ball on the floor, silently enduring their venomous accusations. She remained motionless, unable to utter a single word in her defense. I couldn't be bothered to watch this pathetic farce any longer. Turning to Director Chen, I commanded, "I'm leaving the rest of the liquidation process in your hands." Director Chen nodded respectfully. "Rest assured, Vice President Fang. I'll ensure everything is handled flawlessly." I strode out of the office with purpose, feeling the warm sunlight wash over me, finally scattering the suffocating shadows of the last 3 years. Suddenly, the phone in my pocket vibrated. It was my mother. "You brat. How did the cleanup go?" There was a hint of a proud smile in her voice. "It's finished." I let out a long, refreshing stretch. Liquidation is underway. Neither Liu Ruyan nor Tangsan will escape the consequences. At least you've shown some backbone for once. My mother paused for a beat. "Come home for dinner tonight. I have something to discuss with you." After hanging up, I drove straight back to the estate. The villa was brilliantly lit, and the aroma of a home-cooked feast greeted me at the door. My mother was seated on the sofa, holding a document. Seeing me enter, she beckoned me over with a wave. "I've finalized the details for your arranged marriage." She handed the file over to me. "She's the daughter of the Lin Group Lin Wan. Not only is she breathtaking, but she's incredibly capable. Just like you, she hates relying on her family's name. The two of you should meet. If there's a spark, pursue it. If not, at least you've made a powerful ally." I picked up the file, my eyes landing on the photo of Lin Wan. She had a cool, aloof beauty, and an aura of sharp professional competence. She was surprisingly easy on the eyes. Mom, you're really ambushing me with this, huh? I let out a helpless, weary chuckle. Well, you're the one who insisted on wasting years with that Liu Ruyan? My mother shot me a playful glare. Lin Wan returns to the country tomorrow. Go to the airport and pick her up. Oh, and don't reveal your true status? Just say you're a low-level employee at Dingsheng Group. I want to see for myself if this girl is truly as sharp and perceptive as they say. I was caught between a laugh and a sigh, but ultimately I agreed to her little game. The next day, I swapped my designer suit for a basic casual outfit. I drove to the airport in an inconspicuous budget sedan, following the intel my mother provided. I didn't have to wait long at the arrival gate before Lin Wan finally came into view. She was clad in a minimalist sharp-cut suit, trailing a single suitcase behind her, with her long hair tied back in a sleek ponytail. She exuded an aura of pure professional efficiency. What was even more impressive was the lack of any bodyguards or assistants. She was traveling entirely solo, blending in perfectly with the ordinary travelers. Excuse me, are you Miss Lin Wan? I stepped forward to greet her. Lin Wan looked up, her gaze sweeping over me. She nodded slightly. And you are? I'm from the Dingsheng Group. The Dingsheng Group. President Tang commissioned me to pick you up. I reached out to take her luggage. Lin Wan didn't press for further details and followed me straight to the car. As she watched the city blur past the window, she suddenly broke the silence. The Dingsheng Group? Aren't they currently liquidating a failing subsidiary? I was momentarily stunned. I hadn't expected her to be so well informed already. You're certainly quick to pick up the news. My father and President Tang are old friends, so they talk shop occasionally. Lin Wan offered a small knowing smile. I heard the CEO of that particular subsidiary tried to social climb by betraying her most loyal ace, only to get backstabbed by the very person she chose. Is the rumor true? I raised an eyebrow in surprise. This girl definitely doesn't beat around the bush. Something like that? She got exactly what she deserved. Lin Wan's tone remained calm and steady. In business, you rely on strength and integrity, not cheap tricks or opportunistic schemes. I nodded, inwardly impressed. She's just as perceptive as my mother claimed. After dropping her off at the hotel, I turned to leave, but she suddenly called out to me. Wait, I haven't even asked for your name yet. Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan? Lin Wan repeated it slowly, letting out a soft laugh. That's a nice name. Are you free tomorrow? Let's grab a meal together. Grab a bite to eat with me. The honor is all mine. Over the course of the next few days, I accompanied Lin Wan on a tour of the city. We didn't discuss professional business, nor did we touch upon family matters. Like any ordinary pair of friends, we talked about gourmet food, the scenery, and our personal hobbies. I discovered that our values were surprisingly aligned. Being around her felt incredibly natural and easy. My mother kept bombarding me with texts for progress reports, but I brushed them off with vague answers. I felt that when it comes to romance, you can't rush perfection. Then one afternoon, while Lin Wan and I were enjoying noodles at a famous local spot, my phone suddenly vibrated. It was a call from Director Chen. Vice President Feng Liu Ruyan is causing a scene at the office. Director Chen sounded completely exasperated. She's demanding to see you. She says if you won't meet with her, she's never going to leave. I understand. I'm on my way. I hung up and looked at Lin Wan. An urgent matter has come up. I'm afraid I have to head out first. Lin Wan noticed my shift in expression and gave a supportive nod. Go ahead. Business takes priority. When I arrived at the Dingsheng Group headquarters, Liu Ruyan was indeed standing precariously on the rooftop's edge, wailing with soul-crushing desperation. A massive crowd had already gathered below, and reporters were frantically snapping photos. Fang Yuan, show yourself. Seeing me appear, Liu Ruyan became even more hysterical. If you don't come out, I'll just... I took a deep breath and stepped onto the rooftop. The wind was howling, whipping Liu Ruyan's hair into a chaotic mess. She stared at me, her eyes as bloodshot as a rabbit's. Fang Yuan, I finally realized I was wrong. I truly honestly know I messed up. Please, you have to save me. I can't go to prison. I can't let my reputation be utterly destroyed. I can't save you. I stood exactly 3 meters away from her, my voice eerily calm. The choices you made led you to this path, and you alone must shoulder the consequences. You're the one who forced my hand. Liu Ruyan shrieked with hysterical fury. If you hadn't hidden your true identity, if you hadn't refused to support me, why would I have ever sought out Tang San? Fang Yuan, you love me, don't you? You used to adore me so much. How can you bear to watch me suffer like this? I let out a hollow laugh, one colder than the biting rooftop wind. Liu Ruyan, are you even worthy of that love? I did love you once. I loved your drive, and I loved your relentless grit. But eventually I realized that all your effort and hard work were merely fuel for your unchecked ambition and greed. You never truly loved me. You loved the version of Fang Yuan that brought you profit. No, that's not true. Liu Ruyan shook her head frantically. I can change. I swear I can change. Fang Yuan, can't we just start over? I'll do anything you ask. It's too late. I looked her in the eye, enunciating every word. Liu Ruyan's face drained of color, turning deathly pale. She stumbled backward, reeling in shock, her foot slipping as she nearly plummeted from the edge. My instincts kicked in. I lunged forward and grabbed her arm. In that exact moment, a collective gasp erupted from the crowd below. I glanced down at the pavement and saw Lin Wan standing there among the onlookers, tilting her head back to watch me. Liu Ruyan caught sight of Lin Wan as well, like a drowning person grasping at a final straw. She screamed, "Who is she? Is she your new plaything, Feng Yuan? Is she the reason you're throwing me away? I'm better than her. I love you more than she ever could." "Shut your mouth." I swiped her hand away in disgust. "You aren't even fit to carry her shoes." The security team seized the opening and rushed forward, hauling Liu Ruyan back from the ledge. As she was being dragged away, she continued to shriek my name at the top of her lungs, a shrill, agonizing sound that sent a sickening chill down everyone's spine. I descended from the rooftop, where Lin Wan met me and handed me a bottle of water. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," I replied, taking a long sip of the water. "Sorry you had to witness that pathetic mess." "There's nothing funny about it," Lin Wan said, her gaze steady. "Everyone must answer for the choices they make. She is no exception." Looking into Lin Wan's clear, honest eyes, my heart suddenly skipped a beat. I decided then and there to stop the deception. "Lin Wan, there's something I need to tell you." We sat together in the car, where I laid out the entire truth for her. From running away from home 3 years ago, to working at Liu Ruyan's firm, to the betrayal, and finally my true identity. Lin Wan listened in silence, showing neither shock nor any hint of disdain. Once I finished, she simply offered a gentle smile. "I knew you didn't seem like just some ordinary employee. You simply kept your secrets." "It wasn't a lie," Lin Wan looked at me. "Besides the fact that you shared this with me, proves that you truly trust me." I gazed back at her, a wave of warmth surging through my chest. "So about that arranged marriage?" I asked, testing the waters. "Marriage," Lin Wan raised an eyebrow playfully. I had a feeling President Tang was trying to play matchmaker for the two of us. I laughed, feeling an immense sense of relief. Not long after, Liu Ruyan's case reached its final verdict. Both Tang San and Liu Ruyan received the harsh justice they deserved. When the news finally broke, I was at the cinema watching a movie with Lin Wan. Hearing the update, we both shared a faint, knowing smile, without any lingering bitterness or emotion. As the days turned into weeks, I grew more comfortable in my role at the headquarters. Under my ruthless restructuring, all those stagnant, lazy subsidiaries were purged completely, and the group's performance began to skyrocket. My mother was thrilled to finally have some peace. She ended up dumping most of the workload onto me, and set off to travel the world. One day I finally brought Lin Wan back to my home. As she browsed through the house full of old photos, Lin Wan said with a playful smile, "I had no idea you were such a little troublemaker back then." I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed by the exposure. "Fang Yuan," Lin Wan suddenly turned around, locking eyes with me. "Let's get married." I froze for a split second, then felt a surge of pure ecstasy. "Are you serious?" "Of course I'm serious." Lin Wan nodded, her eyes sparkling. "I think life with you would be quite an adventure." I pulled her into a tight embrace, the sheer joy in my heart nearly overflowing. 3 months later, Lin Wan and I held our wedding. The ceremony was intentionally low-key, without an endless list of guests. Only our families and a few close inner circle friends attended. During the ceremony, my mother couldn't stop beaming at the two of us. "The brat finally wised up," she teased. I gazed at Lin Wan standing beside me. Clothed in her pure white wedding gown, she looked like a breathtaking angel. I knew with absolute certainty that this time I'd found the one. Our married life was simple yet profoundly happy. Lin Wan and I managed the corporate empire together, traveled the globe, and cooked side by side. She understood my ambition and my gentleness, while I understood her strength as well as her hidden vulnerabilities. Occasionally, the thought of Liu Ruyan would cross my mind. I heard she behaved well behind bars and was released not long after. As for where she went after her release, nobody truly knows. But those people and those bitter memories have all become nothing but smoke in the wind. Today, Lin Wan and I stood before the office's floor-to-ceiling window, watching the endless flow of people in the streets below. Lin Wan leaned her head on my shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking about how lucky I am that I chose to walk away." I pulled her closer. "If I hadn't, I never would have found you." Lin Wan smiled, the golden sunlight bathing her face in a warm and radiant glow. I knew that for the rest of my life, as long as she was with me, I will never have a single regret again.